My family were tanners. They tanned hides, you know.
Do you know where the term piss poor comes from?
No.
Oh, really? Poor families would have a pot and they would all piss in it. And then they would sell the pee to the tanners or the leather makers, and they would make money on their pee. So piss poor meant you're so poor that you have to pee in a pot and then sell that to Leatherworks.
We have the meat.
Hide your kids. Lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have. It's the Chad and Cheese Podcast, everybody. I'm your co-host, Joel. May you live in interesting times, Cheeseman.
And I am JT, the future's fractional O'Donnell.
And on this episode of HR's Most Dangerous Podcast, time to OpenAI can of whoop ass on LinkedIn. Indeed drops the bots on me, baby. And who'd you rather? Let's do this. What's up, JT?
You know, just living the dream in the good and peaceful times that we live in.
We're Chadless. No Chads.
I know. He's in Greece, right? Are we going to show that picture?
Oh, my God. The summer of Chad marches on. He's in Greece, partying at the Parthenon or some other club that he's at, eating
pictures in the WhatsApp.
Much better food than us. Unfortunately for him, his summer of Chad is coming to an end soon. He's going to be headed back to the U.S. for RecFest and other things. But Chad is living his best life. But I am super happy to have you here. Fortunately, the world is at a place of peace and calm.
It's amazing.
It's just so great. Let me run down a quick list of the headlines. Right. So we have assassination of Charlie Cook. We have a stabbing on a train. We have drones in Poland being launched by Russia. Apparently, Apple's launching a new phone. France is melting down. There's military parades by dictators in China. We're recording on September 11th. What are the headlines? Are you most interested in, JT? What's got you up at night? What's of interest? Of what's going on in the world.
I mean, obviously, in my world, the jobs reports. I have 4 words for everybody out there.
You can't jump to the topic. We're going macro. We're going macro unless you're so deep in your in employment.
All right, I'll save it. No. I think for me, it's just a general everybody is just a wounded bird. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody has empathy for anybody anymore. Everybody discounts everybody else's pain.
It's rage. I don't know. It's rage, right? Rage has replaced empathy.
That's fair. Like the anger lacks it, but it is insane. The level of people that I don't care that you're in pain because I'm in pain. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's bad. I don't know how people don't see it. And you and I were talking before the show, you know, when was it this bad before in our lifetimes? And I just don't recall it being this bad. And, you know, had to be before my lifetime.
Yeah, I think
this was the worst I've seen.
You have to go to the 60s, I would guess. Yep. Vietnam, MLK, JFK, RFK, Malcolm X, Nixon, Watergate. But I think this feels worse, maybe just because we're in the moment. But this is bad.
Yeah,
this is bad.
It's tough.
But for me, it's the dictators that like. When India, China, and Russia and North Korea and 20-ish other sort of governments get together, that should send a chill down everyone's spine. And then shortly after that, Russian drones start probing into Poland to see. It's clearly Putin saying, "What's NATO going to do if my drones show up in a NATO country?" by the way, the four top energy producers in the world are us, China, Russia, and India. And people forget that the Germans lost in large part because, they just, more of their people got killed, but they ran out of gas. Mm-hmm. The moment the tanks stopped rolling and the U-boats stopped, doing their thing, they lost the war. So energy, I think, energy is incredible. Like, I'm getting really meta. I'm getting in the weeds here, but that is historically scary shit, what we saw in China, in my mind.
So you're saying that makes everything in the recruiting and HR world pale in comparison.
Well, apparently there's aliens coming too. Like aliens are like, there's apparently a comet that's a spaceship coming to Earth. Some guy was in front of Congress this week. Like it's cats and dogs living together at this point.
So we should just all have a good time at this point.
We should have a good time and talk about the employment industry.
Yeah, like let's just go. It is season. It is our season. It is our conference season. So what you're telling me is to have an extra good time at the upcoming conferences.
Don't be a wet blanket, JT. I think don't be a wet blanket. Party like it's 1999. Give a note to Prince. And geez. What do you say we get to some shout outs?
Is it time for shout outs?
It is. I've got two, a good and a bad. Which one am I starting with first? And then we'll come back to the other one.
You better go good based on the world demise that we just discussed.
All right. Let me boost everybody up after Joel's ending of the world.
Bring us back.
So my shout out is to Tim Sackett, because I listened to the podcast this week where you and Chad interviewed him. Mm-hmm. And it's my favorite of the year. No disrespect to everybody else that has been on the shows. But I just found myself like out loud, in my house going, yes, as he was talking about things. There's just something about his delivery style, which is the right amount of energy, but it's not over the top. I think you used the word manicured. It just hits right. And I just think he's got a pulse on it more so than anyone I've ever seen. Or maybe it was just better articulated than I've heard to date. So Tim, you rock.
Tim's been doing this for a while also. So he is manicured. I think that was the term that I used, which I don't just throw around without any thought. But yeah, Tim is a good interview. And I told you also, I interviewed him a year ago at RecFest, I think just us. And that's a good interview as well. People. And he's done some, he was a guest on the show for a long time. He did predictions with us. So we have a lot of Tim Sackett content. If you're feeling particularly Sackett-ish and you want to get some more of that, I'm going to bring us down a little bit for my shout out. Sorry. It's just the mood of the nation right now. My shout out goes to Beth Fynbo. And speaking of interviews that we've done in the past, we interviewed Beth, who's a small business owner. We brought her on when the tariffs were hitting. She was doing big networks, and we got her on the show, which was great. But when China was when we were throwing 145% tariffs on China and 30, and just like it was every day, it seemed to change. Her business was suffering, and I think that we forget about the small business, which is 80 to 90% of businesses in America are small businesses. The big companies of the world can sort of have a cushion against some of these things, but small businesses don't. So anyway, I encourage you to go back and listen to her story, but she sent an email out this week, sort of updating everyone on her, I guess, progress. So she did a GoFundMe, which had 600 donors to enable her to pay a $35,000 tariff bill. She was able to get product to keep the business running, but she cashed in her retirement to stay afloat. Her brother, who was a partner with her, worked at the company, had to leave the company. Obviously, sales have been dropping because of rising costs, and just the world in general is sort of struggling. The word recession is being thrown around. Target was pushing her stuff, selling her stuff. She was dropped from Target. Walmart, which was a huge deal for her to sell her baby items, cut her real estate 50%. And of course, she continues to have uncertainty. And when the road is foggy, people just kind of stop driving altogether. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot in the economy. So Beth Fynbo, God bless you. American entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general are some of the strongest, most resilient people on the planet, and her resiliency is being tested. So my thoughts go out to her and hope that she can weather the storm and stay afloat at her business.
Over 80% of you watching right now, you watch over and over. We know you do, but you haven't liked and you haven't subscribed. Let's do that. Let's do that now.
I wish her the same. It's really hard right now. We're seeing it across the board, like you said, and it's truly a test. It's truly a test. So my second shout out is also like on the downside. It's Marc Benioff over at Salesforce, who for years the term was Ohana family. At the company, was on a podcast recently saying that he was able to cut, and I quote, 4,000 heads as a way to use AI. Not humans. I wasn't able to. I cut 4,000 family.
Yeah, he cut a lot.
Cut heads.
He cut a lot.
Yeah, and I understand why we're doing it. I think you and I were talking about this. I mean, the general feedback I get from CEOs and executives is we're exhausted and we're done with people. They're unpredictable. They complain. They're expensive. They're unreliable. And now I've got this thing that I can put in place that doesn't talk back. And if you think about it, folks, we'd all love to put something in place that doesn't talk back, right? Like that's just human nature to think that they wouldn't think that way too. So I get it. I get the sentiment that's out there, but it is pervasive based on what I've seen. And so, I paint that as a stern warning for folks that, there is no such thing as job security anymore, please. And there's not a full-time job with benefits long-term. You just need to understand that when you're seeing things like that in the media and everybody goes, oh, it'll swing back. I don't think it's going to. I know we're going to talk about that later. I don't think it's going to. I think we are literally in a massive tipping point when it comes to work as we know it.
Well, thank God we have the Matthew McConaughey and the Woody Harrelson ads to distract us from the people that are losing their livelihoods at Salesforce. And I think you and I maybe disagree on this, but I talked about the tariffs. I think a lot of the big companies in the world, now software is a little bit different, but let's talk about the Walmarts of the world, et cetera. I think that they are largely holding their nose and eating as much of the cost as a company. But part of that is layoffs mean the money we would be paying someone, now we're paying the government in a tax called a tariff. So I do think that tariffs are part of the problem, not just people are a pain in the ass. They can both be true at the same time. You have a little bit of a differing opinion, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you turned me on the sense that it definitely could be a tipping point in terms of, or a reason to validate it. I just don't think that, as you pointed out, applies for all businesses. We're seeing enough, it's multi-factor, maybe the trifecta, right? Oh, there's a tariff. Oh, we can use AI. And also, oh, let's do return to office so we don't have to pay for layoffs, right? There's just a lot of perfect storm stuff happening. For me, the overall feedback is companies as a whole do not want to have as many humans. You can be more agile with a smaller business, right? There's less decision makers. I think we are moving towards a world of fractional work, where 4 or 5 core people run a business and they pull people in as they need to and they release them. And that's how it works. And I think that for me is the big shift that millions of Americans, let alone globally, are going to have to wrap their heads around. There was a time where you didn't have full-time jobs. Like if we all woke up tomorrow and they're gone, full-time jobs gone forever, can't get another one. What would you do? You'd go back in history. My family were tanners. They tanned hides, but I think a second Renaissance era is coming. And I want to put a stake in the ground in this. I actually see a light that is, we're going to force people to look at their hobbies and their interests and the things that they nerd out and care about. And there's going to be this huge economy that nobody's talking about that's all digitally run, right? That is going to feed itself. And there's going to be a whole new crop of jobs and a whole bunch of ways for you to use your brain, monetize your mind, and do more important and exciting work. So when they sit there and tell you, we got rid of the mundane jobs, that is a good thing. We don't want to be doing mundane jobs. Let the AI do it. We're just in this weird moment where the Renaissance era hasn't fully kicked in and people don't understand how to tap into that second Renaissance era yet. But when it hits, I just think we're going to see amazing things. It's just not happening today.
So we'll replace tanners with what? TikTok influencers? Is that
underwater basket weavers?
Digital
Absolutely.
Renaissance?
Yeah, no, I think you can teach yourself anything. I was telling you the story of the kid he's making bank, showing everybody how he's power washing walkways. He's doing videos showing people how much money he's making, and then he's monetizing. The next generation doesn't believe in full-time jobs. They don't want them. Right? So why wouldn't we move to a fully independent model where we're all businesses of one and living our best lives based on the things that we nerd out on. I love that idea for us. So I'm going to cling to that.
Digital serfdom. I'm here for it.
That's it.
Winter's
All right,
off. If we're not,
I'll let you coin that. Digital serfdom.
Yeah, that's gonna catch on. So you were tanners. That's interesting. Do you know where the term piss poor comes from?
No.
Oh, really? So talking about the Renaissance, Middle Ages. So in the old days, when they would tan and leatherworks, whatever, urine, apparently, if you put urine on a tan or a hide, it will dissolve all the stuff that you don't want on a leather piece or whatever. So poor families would have a pot and they would all piss in it. And then they would sell the pee to the tanners or the leather makers, and they would make money on their pee. So piss poor meant you're so poor that you have to pee in a pot and then sell that to Leatherworks.
We did not even rehearse that. You're bringing this knowledge bomb out of nowhere. See, this is what I mean about the Renaissance era, that you're going to monetize off of random pieces of knowledge. It's going to be great.
Well, so piss poor, but then you had so pot, you don't have a pot to piss in.
Oh,
so that's
poor you don't have a pot
really
to piss
poor.
in.
Like you can't even afford the pot to pee in to then sell the pee to businesses. So
I think this podcast is done now.
There's your history lesson. Piss poor and not a pot to piss in. All worthless.
All because of my ancestors.
Worthless knowledge. You know what's not worthless though, JT, is free stuff.
Oh, I like free stuff.
Who doesn't like free stuff?
Tell the listeners what they can get if they head out to chadcheese.com/free.
Chadcheese.com/free. Let's start with a little Van Hack whiskey. Who doesn't, at this point, based on the first 5 minutes of this show today, you want to be doing shots.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you
friends
want
up north always taking care of us.
Next up, though, like if that's a little too harsh for you and you're a little more subdued, you're going to go with a little Aspen Tech Labs beer, which, by the way, shout out to Tim Deneen, who just landed over at Aspen Tech, which is fantastic. So cheers to him.
Let's go there real quick. Yeah. It wasn't on our topics, but let's go there. So Tim, I don't know how well you know Tim. He's in your neck of the woods, I think.
He is.
Sort of that New
I do
England
know him.
area.
Great guy, smart guy.
So you know him. So maybe there may not be one singular person more responsible for Indeed's success than Tim Deneen. Tim Deneen was the force of SEO back in the mid-aughts at Indeed. And when you think about Indeed's free traffic, the SEO that they leverage, that can all be traced back to Tim. So Tim did that, I'm sure cashed out, started Recruitix, has left there, and he's ended up at Aspen Tech Labs, which is kind of a weird fit. What are your thoughts on why he would land at an Aspen Tech Labs?
I've had conversations with him recently, and all I'm going to say is that Tim's brain is always just ahead of the curve.
Okay.
You don't have the track record he has if you don't see it. I'm not going to say anything more than that. I think Aspen Tech Labs knows they have just hired a ringer.
Okay. We'll talk about the employment data, and Aspen Tech Labs is on the forefront of private sort of data on that. And I think Tim is coming in. Tim sees the opportunity with employment data and the value there. We saw LinkUp get sold recently. Toby Dayton's a good friend of that. But if you have this data and it's good data, it's incredibly valuable. So I think Tim is going to come in and rock that out. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Tim. I was going to add it to the thing. So shout out to Tim as well. Back to free stuff. Back to free stuff.
So if you decide that booze isn't your thing, it's okay, because we're going to get some sweet t-shirts. By the way, worn it. It's so comfy, from Aaron. It's fantastic. And last but not least, if this is your birthday month.
Really? Can you feel the tension in the air right now?
Again, that's chadcheese.com.
Run with Plum. Do I even need to say more? Run with Plum. Go get him, folks.
All right, guys. Celebrating another trip around the sun is Alicia Buchler, Lucas Roscoe, Katie Gentry, John Tehan, Kevin Lowe, Laura Martinelli, Nikos Levadas, Paul Norman, and Matt Adam. Happy birthday, everybody. Birthday. And as you know, we always are traveling people this time of year.
Events.
Fall's cranking up.
Going, boys.
We'll remind everyone that Chad and I will not be at HR Tech this year. We're getting a lot of messages, I'm sure both of us, about meeting up at HR Tech. We will not be there because Chad's in Greece working on his tan. So won't be there. We will be at RecFest in Nashville with Bells On, and I will also be solo at ERE coming up in San Diego. You know what they say about San Diego. And I will be on stage with Monster founder. Everything's co-founder now. Monster founder Jeff Taylor, who's launching a new startup and has a wealth of knowledge and historical know-how that we will tap into at ERE. Make sure you head out to ere.net to get your tickets. I think there's some discounts and whatnot out there, but we will be traveling extensively. I think, will we see you in Nashville?
You are not seeing me in Nashville.
Okay.
I've had to switch gears, but I'm also going to San Diego, which, by the way, I just did a Ron Burgundy reference in case anybody mentions. I can't believe you didn't catch that. But I'll be at Talent Connect, which is also in San Diego. So it's going to be a good season.
Okay. Always a good time to go to San Diego. Never a bad time.
It is.
But if you're playing fantasy football with Chad and Cheese, sponsored by our friends at FactoryFix, there's only one time of the year that you can do that, and that is football season. So week 1 is in the books. Here's our first to worst in week 1 of our fantasy football competition. Head of the list, we got Courtney Napo, followed by Will Carrington, Mackenzie Maitland, Jason Putnam, David Stiefel, last year's winner, followed by yours truly right here on the screen. Stephen McGrath comes in after me. He's the Scott that we all love so very much. And followed by Stephen is Megan Radigan, Jada Weiler, Ginger Dodds, Chad Sowash, and the caboose. The last man standing this week goes to Jeremy Roberts. Again, that's fantasy football with our friends at Factory Fix. Should we get some topics? There's a few things I think that we can talk about this week.
You sure?
Topics!
Gee, what could we possibly lead off? What is in the news? Well, really everything. But for our audience, OpenAI is launching the OpenAI jobs platform. They got really creative with the name. This is coming in 2026. The aim is to connect AI-savvy candidates with employers. The platform will feature AI-powered tools for both candidates and employers, and will be developed in collaboration with various companies and organizations. OpenAI is also introducing OpenAI certifications, covering topics from basic AI use to advanced prompt engineering to help users improve their AI skills. OpenAI is getting into the business of jobs, JT. What's your take?
I'm not shocked. Obviously, it totally makes sense. We've only been talking about this for over a year. AI talking to AI, and it makes a lot of sense. I think I get more excited about the AI fluency stuff because the job seekers that I'm talking to are saying, well, what should I study? What do I need to know? How does it apply to my industry? And so to have a platform that can say, all right, based on your skill set and what you're putting into this and what you're telling us, this is the type of AI fluency you need. And hey, here's where you can go get it. That excites me a lot. I'll be interested to see how we then validate that AI fluency, right? And make sure that, they went through something and they truly are capable versus, checking a couple boxes. So I do want to better understand how they're claiming that they're going to help people with the AI fluency, validate that credential and work that into that. But overall, this is just the natural next step. Job boards die because we don't need unsolicited resumes from people who aren't qualified. The big thing for me, when you think about large language models and garbage in, garbage out, all of this comes down to how good and accurate is the information that the job seekers put in about themselves and that we gather about them, right? And how accurate the information about the job itself is. So, I'm curious. I want to see what they do to improve upon that.
Okay.
Time for a history lesson.
I'm going to have a get off my lawn moment here for a second. And people that I respect in the industry have both come out in favor of this and not so favorable. I'm just going to break it down historically for the kids out there. I'm going to take you back to June of 2006. June of 2006. MySpace ruled the world, if you remember MySpace. And MySpace announced a partnership with a vertical search engine called Simply Hired back in 2006. Simply Hired is now owned by Indeed, but at the time they were a competitor with Indeed. And I can tell you that 75 million users on MySpace meant that if someone got the jobs real estate on MySpace meant that you were going to crush it. Okay. This was when Monster and Career Builder were bench pressing, 850 pounds. But still, they were nothing compared to the traffic that MySpace was getting. So MySpace, Simply Hired, it's going to be huge. Okay. After that, Google Base launched. Google Base was basically Google's Craigslist solution, which got killed with spam, and they shut it down. Simply Hired then became the filler jobs on LinkedIn. And at the time we thought, man, they got MySpace and they got LinkedIn. They're going to be huge. Simply Hired is the future of jobs. And then you had Hot Jobs, which some people remember, and Career Builder, the newspaper relationships. And they're like, oh my God, think about all the newspapers in the world. They're going to drive all the traffic. They're going to totally rule this whole thing. And then Facebook became a thing. And you had a company called Branch Out, and Monster launched something called Be Known, because every job you're going to get was you knew somebody. So if you could build the platform on Facebook, which was the hottest thing that all the kids were using, then you were going to rule the employment landscape. Well, Facebook switched around their algorithm. Branch Out went out of business. Be Known got shuttered. Fast forward a little bit, Google for Jobs launches. Okay, this is their second attempt at a jobs solution. Now, fortunately, that has worked out. They learned a little bit from Google Base, and that is sort of catching on. You had Facebook launch jobs, and everyone thought, holy shit, 1 billion people using Facebook. They're going to search for jobs, like game over. And most recently, I would say, is Twitter, with Elon coming online and saying, LinkedIn is cringy. Our new jobs thing is going to be awesome. They actually acquired a jobs solution. And now, 20 years later, OpenAI is going to crush it and destroy LinkedIn and destroy Indeed. Well, call me cynical, call me old, get off my lawn. But for my money, this is going to be a non-topic a year from now. The jobs board, this space is so hard. I don't think anyone realizes the nuance that you have to deal with jobs. People get into it and they go, oh shit, this is a pain in the ass, and they get out. And that's what's going to happen probably here. Now, I will say, I do think you're looking at me. I'll give you time. I'll give you some face time here. But I do think from a macro level, and we talked about Chrome and Google last week, and Google basically getting to keep Chrome. I do think that your browser, or whatever your interface is with the internet, will be agent powered. And you will have an agent on Chrome. You will have an agent on whatever Johnny Ive and OpenAI are working on. And you will have an agent on your browser for travel plans. You will have search real estate stuff. Let me know what kind of car, and jobs will be part of that. And you'll have an agent on your browser that will constantly look at jobs, things that are fit, interview for you, alert you hey, this company's interested, et cetera. So I do think on a macro level, OpenAI and Gemini and all that will have a component in job searching. But just to have a vertical on jobs, I think is a stupid thing for OpenAI to do.
Okay. Well, first of all, yes, you are cynical. No, you are not old, Joel. But this idea that I think maybe the media made it sound like, OpenAI is going to decimate LinkedIn. That's not how I took it at all. Right. And I think your ending note there, which is they'll have a place in it. I agree. Two things that stand out for me. One is that everybody out there is looking for a new name. And right now, what OpenAI has done is the whole world understands that AI has come about and is learning from them. So as much as they've been around, they're not one of those old players in our space that, people dislike. It's like, oh, it's a new place for me to go. It's not LinkedIn, right? It's something new for me to try. So that's the first thing I want you to think about is brand recognition and the clout that they have right now with everyone.
Yep.
The second thing is from personal experience. And, I'll give a shout out to JobLeap if it's okay, because, former Recruitix team started JobLeap.ai.
Is this a full disclosure?
It is a full disclosure. I will full disclose that I've done work with them. But the reason I say that is that the job shopping tool they built for job seekers, they go in and they talk about themselves, and they only get to see the video, the jobs where there are 75 match percent or higher. It's in bright yellow until they get to 80. and then green from 80 to 90. And so I look at that and it's already teaching job seekers. You're not getting to see everything. You're only getting to see the stuff that you're 75% match or closer. This is what's available. And this is why you should apply to the green, not the yellow. Mm-hmm. That is the kind of thing I've been begging for and pleading forever and ever and ever. And AI is now making that possible. Because until you do that, job seekers are going to apply for everything under the sun and then blame you because you didn't call them back. So I get excited when I hear what they're doing, add into that the AI, fluency, and that they're an entity that people trust. And I think you're underestimating what they could do in that space. I also think it sometimes helps to not have been in our industry 30, 40 years, because I sit and watch some really smart people in our industry discount stuff left and right. Oh, it'll never work. That'll never work. Well, it didn't work back then, but we have an entirely different tool now. So I'm not 100% with you. I think there's something there. Do I think they're going to wipe out and decimate everybody? No, of course not. But I would not discount them.
60% of the time, it works every time.
All right, let's go to lies, damn lies, and statistics. U.S. payrolls were revised by, let's just call it 1 million, roughly 1 million.
Did you say it was 911,000?
911,000. Let's just round it up.
Bad number.
So indicating a less robust job growth than previously reported. No shit. The revision, the largest since at least 2000, suggests a labor market slowdown and may prompt interest rate cuts by the Fed. The downward revision affected nearly every industry, with wholesale and retail, leisure and hospitality, professional and business services, and manufacturing seeing the largest markdowns. Payroll revisions, JT, your thoughts?
Remember those 4 words I said I was dying to say at the front of the show?
Say it.
I told you so. We've been talking about this nonstop on social media for over a year. These numbers aren't right. These numbers aren't right. These numbers aren't right. Just anecdotally, I was telling you, like, a day doesn't go by that I don't have people in my DMs. I'm going to lose my home. I'm going to lose everything. I'm about to put my family in a car. Mm-hmm. I'm moving back in with my, parents. Like, these are adults that were doing 6-figure jobs who burn through their savings to hang on to a 3% mortgage. Right. And at 9 months, 12 months, have nothing left. And we have been talking to these people every single day. And these numbers come out and everyone's like, the economy's great. The numbers are great. No, they're not. They have not been. And these jobs aren't coming back. That's the thing that we really have to understand. These high level jobs are not coming back. Will we have new types of jobs? And will there eventually be income opportunities? You and I have talked about that. Sure. But not today. Not tomorrow, and not in the next 12 months. And so I am fascinated to see, because it's already Rome is burning, like we were saying in the beginning of the show, but This is not going to get better for a while. Yeah.
You being on the front lines of this and listening to stories, is there any consistency? You mentioned 6-figure jobs, but are you talking to younger people, middle age? Give me an idea of the demographic that you talk to.
Yeah. All right. So you have college grads who cannot get a job at all, who are like, why did I try to go to the most well-known school I could go to and, do all of these things to not get a job? That's group one. Group two is interesting. 25 to 27-year-olds getting laid off for the first time and assuming it's not going to be a problem to get another job, and then realizing those are essentially entry-level jobs, right? You're early in your career. Those are gone. Right? Those are gone. You were getting apprenticed over your first decade of your life. We all know that, right? Those jobs are gone. The late millennials are being laid off for the first time, who have families, car payments, mortgages, probably still some student loan debt. And they are shocked to find out, oh my gosh, I can't get a job. Many of whom did not do return to office, right? Got comfortable with the work from home and building a work-life balance. And so now they realize there are no more of those jobs available and they can't get the job. And so this is crazy. I mean, they were 2-income families to cover their bills. So that group is really freaking out. Yeah. And then you've got the people, the funny thing is, I would say Gen X, our generation, we're just doom and gloom all the time. So the Gen Xers are like, I'm not surprised by this, I'll figure it out. So you kind of skip over them and get into the older generation who's like, this is age discrimination. It's not fair. It's absolutely my age. And it's like, no, there's just no jobs. There's no jobs for your level. I don't know what to tell you, And it's every group.
Who's got it worse? Like 50-ish 50 and over, but not quite retired yet, or the new grad?
Okay, so you got to classify that in two places.
Okay.
Because I would say a good portion of my over 50 do have income they've saved or are inheriting generational wealth based on when I've talked to them. So they are less concerned about it. Mm-hmm. But the group that did never save, which is, around half, are really, really hurting, going to lose everything. Wow. That group is scary. I look at the younger generation and realize they can move home with mom and dad. They're going to very quickly adapt and go into this second Renaissance era. I'm a business of one. I'm going to figure out how to make it work.
Yep.
Those millennials that are knee deep in kids' life. You and I remember when we were full blown in the, I've got kids in diapers. I'm trying to figure out how to be a parent.
The shit gets real stage of your life.
There we go.
25 to 45.
To me, that group is the scariest.
So you think they're the worst off?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
To your point, in terms of the numbers, you have 7,000, I think, baby boomers dying a day now. Those are people that aren't working. You have a closed border and an immigration system that says stay out, and people aren't having babies like they used to. So I think a lot of the unemployment numbers, although fabricated to some degree, aren't going to change even if you do have correct numbers, because you have from the top and the bottom such a squeeze that things aren't going to get better anytime soon. I'll take a different sort of vantage point of this. If you looked at the Dictator's Handbook, eroding trust in government entities is on top of the list. And if you believe that it's the economy stupid, well, then the economy should be the first thing that you start eroding trust. And I'm not laying this on any particular party, but we've seen a decrease in resources at the BLS for decades. Less money, less resources. Well, no shit, stuff's going to get lost stuff's going to fall through the cracks. The problem is now you say, okay, the data's bad. You're politicizing it as, hey, they're partisan, so fired. And so you're only going to get worse numbers if you take away resources and expertise, and people are just like, who needs this? So it's rinse and repeat. It's like worse numbers, less resources. Oh, more worse numbers, less resources for you. And before you know it, like the numbers mean nothing, which is why I think going back to the Tim Deneen and the Aspen Tech Labs, stuff like the ADP number, other services that do this are going to be much more important. And I would guess that the market, meaning Wall Street, is already looking at the government data much less and hiring services like this to find out what's really going on with the economy. Because there's no reason. I was saying, when ZipRecruiter was hitting all-time lows in their stock price, I was like, okay, the economy's good, but all the job boards are sucking wind. Why? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. And this revision is kind of like, okay, yeah, the market, the businesses that rely on hiring, not doing so great. So maybe the numbers aren't so real, but 1 million people is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to fall through the crack. I hate it when
it'll be interesting.
I hate it when stuff falls through the cracks. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the show, what are you doing? Head out to your podcast platform of choice. Connect with us, leave us a review, share it, share us with everybody, particularly the Tim Sackett episode, I guess, that JT loves so much. We'll be right back.
So you posted a new job ad. Now you can sit back and wait for the applications to roll in, right? That's why we built JobPixel. Imagine showing candidates why your company is great with real people, real stories, and real culture. With JobPixel, it's not just another job ad. It's an invitation to something much bigger.
Video gives you a 3 times better response rate. So instead of chasing after candidates, they'll be coming to you.
And with a 34% boost in conversions, candidates aren't just looking, they're applying.
And if you're worried about people clicking away, don't be. Our videos reduce bounce rates by 25%. That means they're watching, they're engaged, and they're interested.
282% more engagement. Yeah, you're going to need a bigger inbox.
Finding the right candidate is tough, but with JobPixel, it doesn't have to be. Show your company's authentic story, and the candidates will follow.
Let's make recruiting fun again, because honestly, it could use some help.
Do you want to see how JobPixel can save you time and money while achieving your KPIs? Schedule a demo today.
All right, let's talk some industry stuff. Indeed and LinkedIn, some red meat for the listeners and the viewers. They love it. All right, Indeed has launched 2 AI-powered agents, Career Scout for job seekers and Talent Scout for the employer. Career Scout acts as a 24/7 career coach, while Talent Scout offers real-time market insights, salary benchmarks, and candidate sourcing by scanning millions of Indeed profiles. And in the opposing corner of all things bots, LinkedIn is expanding its AI-powered hiring assistant tools to more regions, providing recruiters with an all-in-one solution to streamline the staffing process, generating short lists of potential candidates, scheduling interviews, and managing follow-up. Indeed and LinkedIn are bringing the bots, JT. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm curious to hear a deeper dive for you on what you saw with the Indeed AI stuff. Obviously, disclosure, I've been hired by LinkedIn to talk about hiring assistant, have had early access to it, and I'm pretty excited about it. Only because I see people who haven't grown up in recruiting being able to absolutely get in there and use this thing quite effectively to find those purple squirrels that we talk about all the time, which I think is interesting. And I've played around with it a ton. It's clearly ranking based on, have you said you're open to work, and are you active on the platform? Because we're not going to give you somebody who's got a profile but is never there and never talking about it. So there's really good tools there, and the interactivity of it and what you can do with it. I mean, it's intuitive. You don't have to spend decades in recruiting to understand how to build a semi-decent conversational process with somebody that you're interested in bringing into your company. So for me, it's a step in the right direction is what we need. As we've talked about, it's going to wipe out a lot of jobs, I think, as people realize I can do this myself. And I'm sure that that's what they're betting on. But what have you seen on the Indeed side?
Yeah. So
another one.
I love torturing myself, I guess. I watched the opening couple of hours of Indeed's FutureWorks, which is their annual conference. They bring all their people. And so Deco, who's their CEO, comes out. By the way, dude has some space age glasses I've never seen before. Like check out some pictures. It's like two wild things. I don't know if it's plugged into his head. I don't know what's going on with the glasses, but that's a side note. Anyway, he came on to really talk about Talent Scout. Of all the stuff they're doing, like Talent Scout was this thing. They have a video demo, et cetera. The funny thing, what I took away from that after the video, and he talks some more. He was like, he had to juice up the crowd to get them sort of excited. He's like, "Isn't this great?" kind of thing. And then the camera pans to the crowd, and the crowd is like, so I was thinking like half the crowd is thinking, "Oh shit, I got to let go of half my people," and then like the other half were thinking, "Oh shit, I'm one of those people that are going to be going away." So they were a little bit scared of shell shocked to what happened.
Cam moment.
Total, yeah. Minus the Coldplay. That was total shock and awe by everybody. Look, I think you and I agree on this, that under the auspice, let's call it the Trojan horse. There's a Trojan horse being sold, at least by Indeed, that we're going to augment the recruiter experience. We're going to make things like super easy and automated for you. It's going to be awesome. But in the back of my mind, I think a lot of people see this, is that the model that Indeed is creating is literally you don't have to do anything. Like, we're going to plug into your ATS. You're going to post a job. We're going to suck that job out of your ATS. We're going to put that on Indeed. And then we're going to have the job seeker set up an agent, set up this career agent scout thing. And the scout is going to say, okay, you want sales jobs in Toledo, or what? It'll probably be more nuanced than that. But this agent 24/7 will be searching for jobs that are posted automatically from ATSs. And when there's a match, the two are going to talk to each other. They'll do some pre-screening, blah, 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 100%. Schedule, do the whole thing, right? And then on the job seeker side, you're going to get an alert that says, hey, you got a company that's interested in you. They want to bring you in or do a Zoom call, like approve or not. And so the old days of passive job seeking was I signed up for an email alert, and then every day I get an email and I'm supposed to like go through that. Well, everyone knows that once you've got a job, you stop looking for a job. But if I can look for a job and have this digital agent do it for me, like, cool, I can just hang out and it'll alert me like, hey, you've passed round 1 and 2 of this interview. Awesome. And then on the employer side with Indeed, they've got to go to a pay per hire model. And if they're plugged into the ATS, they can run the whole interview automatically. They'll know when someone's actually hired, and they'll basically tell you your Indeed account, plug it in to your ATS, and you're done. And we will send you people that we have matched to your job, and then we'll know when they're actually hired, and then we'll charge you whatever for that hire. That to me is like the obvious model that they're building, and they're pimping it out as like, oh, this is going to be great for everybody. This to me is a Trojan horse that says CEO or whoever's running whatever, just set up your account, plug into your ATS, and you're done. You don't have to go back to Indeed ever again if you don't want to.
I have 2 big thoughts on that. So first of all, I go back to my days at Randstad. I still remember the CEO of the entire company coming over from the Netherlands and sitting with a bunch of us in a room and saying, look, by 2030, everybody's going to be a gig worker. And we're all talent agents. We're going to change over. We're going to call yourself your talent agents. And like, there were a lot of people older than me in the room giggling. And I'm like, I get that. Everybody wants their own talent agent. Everybody wants to be repped. It kills me that they didn't continue and really lean into that. Because if you think about that, where they could go with that, it's absolutely brilliant. When I flip back and look at hiring assistant, particularly at LinkedIn, where it gets me excited is, yes, anyone can do it, but really smart recruiters should be doubling down on this stuff right now, because you become a super recruiter with this thing. You can go in there and find people and start conversations with people you would have never found before just by talking at it. And then there's this bot that says, hey, let me be clear, I'm JT Bot, but I have a bunch of clarifying questions to ask you. I can tell you for a fact, job seekers don't care if they're talking to a bot. They appreciate you saying it's JT Bot, because the bot says, hey, I just need to validate that you have this. Let's have a conversation. And if any time you feel like I'm not getting you what you need, click a button and a message will go to real JT and we'll take a look at it. So it's now giving that candidate a chance to say, I'm not getting my point across to your bot, or, something's not gelling here, and not miss out on the opportunity. So all this stuff, this is what I love about what I've seen with that tool so far, is that all the stuff that's been a problem before with the ghosting and the impersonalization, the transparency is there now with the bot piece of it, coupled with, finding those purple squirrels. Like, you're crazy if you're a recruiter not leaning into this stuff right now, because like you just said, okay, maybe a CEO comes in and drops it in, but you're still going to want that very smart recruiter that understands holistically what's happening, that's thinking about how to fine tune this thing for that company, their vibe, the way they talk, their culture, and that's where these recruiters are going to have a blast and not do the mundane stuff, that's my take. Glasses half full kind of gal, of course, but I really saw it in real time.
Yeah. I mean, look, recruiters are some of the most resourceful people on the planet. Just go to a SourceCon and the freaks and geeks that are at SourceCon will tell you that these aren't your average bears. A lot of them will go by the wayside. I think the money will probably be made sort of in between the raindrops. It'll be the recruiter that understands the algorithm and where there are maybe holes, or maybe who are you missing. There's also a threat in that if I'm a job seeker and I start getting inundated with jobs that aren't a fit, I'll reject the whole premise of agents looking for a job. And we've looked at that with related jobs or recommended jobs. Like, I've had stuff recommended from LinkedIn and I'm like, this makes because I'm a co-host of a podcast, they think I'm a host of a restaurant. So I get like restaurant jobs. So it's not perfect, but the vision that I see is like, if we could just take out the recruiter and the job seeker and let the bots handle it, that's a nirvana. Maybe I'm being a little bit too rose-colored glasses on it, but I think that's the vision that they're going. Who knows?
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking
Once again, Joel, I feel like
overthinking it.
There's been multiple times where we're on the same page. I mean, how many months into the year and you and I are like starting to sync up? It's a little scary.
Nothing warms the cockles of my heart like you saying, I agree with Joel on this one.
Like,
and
Chad's
in the cold. I love when that happens. All right. Let's, I don't think we've ever played Who'd You Rather with you, have I?
No, I'm very excited about this, actually.
Okay.
I did homework.
Usually we do it with like startups getting money, but we're going to do it with acquisitions this time. So I'm going to read 2 acquisitions and you're going to say which one you like better. Basically, who'd you rather? Okay. You ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Our first acquisition goes to Shaker, sponsor of the show, by the way. Shaker Recruitment Marketing has acquired Execuo, an employer brand consultancy to enhance its workforce experience strategy. The combined team will provide integrated workforce insights, employer branding, and talent marketing services, aka do shit that an agency does. That's Shaker. Now we go to Radancy, the artist formerly known as TMP. They've acquired My Interview, expanding their talent acquisition cloud with AI agents. There's that word again, to accelerate hiring cycles and reduce costs. The AI platform promises to eliminate repetitive tasks and enhance candidate engagement. So, JT, Radancy versus Shaker, who'd you rather?
Okay, so first I want to say I love Shaker. I just want to say that aloud, but I'm going Radancy. And I'll tell you why. Because this idea of, in my head, based on what I read about Radancy in My Interview, I envision a world where every job seeker that, submits and meets the basic qualifications gets a virtual interview. And I can tell you right now that that's what I hear job seekers complaining about all the time. Like, I never even got a shot, never got even a chance to share. And when you think about the fact that I don't need 50 recruiters doing phone screens anymore, that I can sit there and have a decent tool. I don't know how decent this is, so we got to, preface that, really start to replace that and be able to find those candidates that are saying the right thing that might not have otherwise even gotten a shot. That excites me, right? Because resumes, they're not the same. This is why we've always done pre-screens and phone screens, is to actually validate somebody and authenticate they know what they're talking about. So that aspect of it gets me very excited for people to have a shot. It's sharing their story. Every job seeker says, if I could just get in front of them. To me, that's what I'm understanding about this. And I think that's a real win.
Okay. You're wrong, but so that's okay.
Nothing. You lose. Good day.
Here we go.
Okay. I as well love Shaker, as they know. So take my who'd you rather with a grain of salt. But time for a history lesson.
Time for a history lesson.
So the agency business has been a weird one. It used to be sort of Mad Men style. Put display ads in the Chicago Tribune, the New York Times, make like $5,000 on a single Sunday. And then it was like, now there's this internet thing, and they were getting a lot less money. A lot less people were like, why do I need a newspaper ad when I can just put it on Craigslist? Right. So they had to come up with ways of adding value to the business. And there was a period where it was like, let's add tech. Let's buy job boards. Let's buy, I don't know, whatever was hot back in 2004. Even I'm too old to remember that stuff. But they started to evolve outside of just display ads. And Shaker and TMP were obviously on the forefront of this. TMP and Monster have history. Shaker used to own a bunch of like city.coms and have gotten into that. I think that there was a crossroads with agencies where they said, okay, are we going to be a tech company or are we going to be a consultancy? Like an agency, right? An agency technically doesn't own the studio. Like, they help you get into the studio. So I think there was a conscious choice by Shaker years ago to say, look, we're not going to be in the tech business. We're not going to be in the software business. We're going to have the best minds understand all the best tech and recommend to our clients what we believe is the best solution for their company. They're 75 years old. They've never changed the name from Shaker. So this is, in my opinion, an acqui-hire, and they've done this a couple of times in recent past, because if you don't have, what happens is we have so much tech, so much AI, and so many customers are like, throw up their hands. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to use. There's a new startup every week. I listen to Chad and Cheese and they talk about all these companies. Like, I don't know what to do. You guys figure it out for us. And in that economy, if you have the most brains that understand this business, you're probably going to win. So for Shaker to sort of consolidate other agencies with maybe different core competencies, to me is just steadfast to their vision that they've had for 75 plus years and will continue to be prosperous for them going forward. When I look at TMP/radancy, I look at a huge ass agency that is trying to put its mittens into many different pies. And they've been tech heavy for a long time. I mean, just some of the recent acquisitions over the years, they acquired Carve, which is like a social media business, Peringo, which was programmatic. They bought Brazen, which is the event side of things. And now they bought My Interview, which is like agent shit. So the problem with that is you get a conflict of interest, right? It's like the government owning 10% of Intel. Okay. What are they going to push? Intel. Okay. What is Radancy going to push? The tech that they own. That's not necessarily the best tech, right? It's just the one that you own and that you control and you profit more off of. So I don't know My Interview from, MySpace at this point. So they may be the most awesome solution ever, but historically, give me the brains, give me the agency that's actually an agency and not one that tries to be a tech company. So, for me, I think this is a pretty easy one. I'm going to go with Shaker. All right, that was. Do you have a rebuttal to that, or should we drop it at that?
Yeah, not at all. No, I'm just going to say that in your first sentence you said it all. It was an acqui-hire. There was no innovation thought on there. You just let's go pick up some minds. Yeah. So if you want to buy some minds and get them under, that's great. To me, that's not anything interesting or new. I agree with you. Your definition of Shaker, what they do very well, and will continue to do really well. Where I give Radancy props is they're still trying different techs. And the reality is you get one of those right and things change fast. And so, say in the VC world, they invest in a lot of duds in order to get the right one. If Radancy continues to invest and get the right one, you're going to be singing a different tune.
Singing a different tune. I love singing different tunes. Let's take a quick break and we're going to talk about more bots, but this kind has wheels.
At Shaker Recruitment Marketing, our comprehensive services include branding, talent attraction, MarTech, and analytics, empowering you to achieve your recruitment marketing goals. We believe in doing things the right way, delivering the right message through the right activation, achieving the right conversion. For us, business is deeply personal. Our legacy is built on relationships. Together with our people, clients, and partners, we've been shaping the world of talent for over 70 years.
All right, Robotaxis. JT,
I can't
you ready?
This.
Okay, Amazon's Zoox has launched its Robotaxi service in Las Vegas on September 10th this week, the first public service with a purpose-built autonomous vehicle approved for expanded demos. The driverless toaster-shaped Robotaxis with bench seats and sensors offer free rides via the Zoox app to select strip destinations. That's the Vegas Strip, not the other kind of strip you might be thinking of, like Resorts World and Luxor. With plans to expand pickup zones, some with concierge and a help button enhance the experience. Zoox is testing in other cities such as San Francisco. Zoox, autonomous, Las Vegas. What could go wrong, JT? What are your thoughts?
Well, I always go to the job that it's about to take, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who are using Uber to pay the bills or Lyft or whatever. And so that's going to go away and that's going to hurt people. And, that's really unfortunate. I am just not there yet to get into a car that is driverless.
It's your renaissance, JT.
It is. Like, what are they going to do now?
They can all go, Rat Pack at the Flamingo if they're not driving an Uber, right?
Content creators. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just not there yet getting in a driverless car after some of the things we've already seen, with Tesla's outing. So
have you been in one?
Absolutely not. And I won't go in one, especially seeing them down in Scottsdale last year freaked me out. Yeah. It did.
Oh, man.
Definitely.
I'm
not ready.
I'm here for it. I'm totally
here for it.
You
live dangerously.
Look, cars are horrible investments. I don't even know if you can call it an investment, right? If you buy a new car, 20% deduction that's why they have gap insurance, right? Your car's worth 20% less if you buy a new car. They take up space. You use them hardly ever based on how much space they take up in your house. You got to pay insurance. You got to fill them up with, they're just a pain. I'm here for let me call a car on my app and take me to Chipotle and then drive me home. I'm all for that. My first thought is this thing is a box. A toaster is a pretty good descriptor of it, but it's like two love seats facing each other. And I'm thinking you know how much sex is going to be going down in the Zoox in Vegas with this thing? I mean, there's going to be so much naughtiness in this thing and so many, there's your content creation freaky shit I can do in a Zoox. That's going to be your next TikTok.
Wait, what do you call it? So when you have sex in a plane in the Mile High Club, what are they going to call it in this thing? You got to name it at this point.
Mile High. This would be the strip club.
Hands free.
That kind of rolls off the tongue, I guess. Yeah, the Zoox, I don't know, the Z Club, the Z.
Yeah, the Z Club. There you go. Yeah.
It is funny because when Uber became a thing a decade ago, Vegas was super staunchly against Uber. Even today, if you go to Vegas, it's way easier to get a cab than it is an Uber. If you want an Uber, you got to go to a garage. You got to walk half a mile. They make it not convenient at all. A taxi, you just get in a line and you're gone. So I will take a taxi in Vegas. There's about 2,000 to 3,000 cabbies in Vegas. I think they will probably throw their weight around to keep that sort of airport lane going. But the stuff around, the Luxor goes to whatever. That makes a ton of sense to me. Tesla has had an underground shuttle thing under the convention center. I don't know if you've seen this. But you get in, Tesla takes you around. Waymo is going to be in Vegas at some point. So I'm here for it. It's going to kill a lot of jobs.
It is.
2,000 to 3,000 in Vegas, 1.5 million taxi drivers nationwide. Trucking, you're looking at 3 to 4 million truck drivers in America. That's a lot of jobs. So there's going to be some tension here, some legislation, regulation. But here comes Trump, who's deregulating all the autonomous driving laws and making it a lot easier to do this stuff. So it's going to happen. I'm all for it from my personal, on a personal level. I make my living off of driving. I think you should talk to JT.
Renaissance era.
And
Renaissance 2, baby.
Go to JT's sites and social medias and see what she's saying. However, I don't think at JT's social media stuff I can get dad jokes. You got to get them here, folks. All right, JT, you ready?
Bring it.
What did Delaware? Her New Jersey.
Oh, I knew it was a clothing thing.
JT, thanks for hanging. Chad, I think, will be here next week as usual. But until then, we
out.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue. Nacho. Pepper jack. Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, Be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!